All right, let me tell you what I'm doing. Brother J, he's a hijacker, he's a thief, and he's a liar. And you will see that basically he took something that was given to me and didn't even want to address me in it. As you see, it's talking about faith and works, good works versus the works of the law. Okay? And this stems back from a YouTube video that he made. And me and a guy named emitsomla, we were giving faithful to God that work. We were giving them that business. And just so happens, it was 6 days ago that Jay decided to delete the thread, or maybe 5 days ago. And then a couple days after that, now he wants to do a video on the same thing that he deleted after we gave faithful to work. Like he just came to this realization, this whole idea on his own, which he didn't. And it's pretty disingenuous of him, and it shows that he's full of guile and deceit. Because had he said, you know what, he didn't even have to mention me. All he had to do is say, you know what, I was going back and forth with a brother, or faithful was, and then as a result of the conversation, this is what we came up with. But no, he's taking this on like this is his work. And then as you notice, he did not post this on his YouTube account because he doesn't know that I'm in this group. He doesn't know that. And that's a little secret. Yeah, you've been jacked, Brother J. And I'm about to bring all of this stuff out and just show how much of a wicked weasel you are. You know what I'm saying? And it's very funny that well, let's listen. Then we're gonna see the similarities. In fact, let me see here. But yeah, let's pause this and come back to it. Okay, as you will see, this right here is something that I had to recover because I didn't even save it. You know, this was from a couple of days ago. I didn't save it, but thanks for word that you're able to retrieve certain things, because as you'll notice, I had saved this document like a couple minutes before the whole thread that spawned this whole revelation that Brother J is suddenly acting like he came with. You know, this 3-page response that I gave to Faithful. You know, I was about to tailor it up and, you know, and really make it that work. And then next thing you know, the thread was deleted. And we'll get into that, but let me bring up the, let's see if I can find the actual file. I just saved it. Hold on one second. Okay. Here it is right here. All right. It's a Word document. As you'll see, let me go ahead and make this, let me move it down some. As you see, it's a 3-page document that that I had responded to Faithful. And you'll see from one of the comments that Faithful called me a Jew. And this is what I said. This is the response that I made to Faithful in this video that I'm about to bring out for you. Hold on, let me go to that video first before he tries to delete the comments on that, because I just don't trust the guy now. He's shown that he's a wicked weasel, and wicked weasels can't be trusted. And you know, I don't have to go through all of this, but I like to go through all of this just so y'all could know what type of snakes and venomous vipers that you guys are dealing with. You know what I mean? This dude is so disingenuous, it doesn't make sense. Okay? And you will see, I haven't even watched the whole video. I watched like maybe 10 minutes of it, and I see that he went straight to Galatians, and I'm interested to see, is he gonna go through all of these points that were made, because some of these points is what Faithful came out with, and these are responding. As you see, we know that you're admitting that good works are the commandments. So another safe answer, but that's there, but not as clear for some people. So, you know, I'm basically letting them know I know what you mean. I mean, I know what they mean, but you don't. But you being safe by answering this what works are. But let me go to the video so I can put all of this stuff in clear perspective. Okay, as you see right here, basically, this is where the whole fruits of the work conversation came from. A video that Brother J did on the 3rd of January. Okay, and it's a response to a pastor saying that he received a letter from Arab leaders. Okay, so now this is afterwards. This is after things were deleted. But as you see, Jay, he's very interactive right here in this thread. He's very interactive. So the interaction pretty much stops with a comment before I actually comment. You see, Brother J, okay, with your response, I now see you going on blind faith. Okay. I ask you for scriptures and prophecies, instead you point me to others. Let's just see what this is about. Okay, so this is about the Ashkenazi Jews. So now you see me coming in because the thread that I was looking for is gone. And this is me commenting to Jay. Are you deleting comments? Emitsomla, he was in the other thread with me and Faithful. He's like, G-Checker, not me. Brother J, did you delete the entire thread of us exposing Faithful to God as a liar and destroying your brainwash Ashkenazi lie? Because I came across a certain bit of information, and it was basically 2 or 3 pages just thoroughly refuting everything they said about the Ashkenazi Jews. And basically it just reduced the whole argument of the Ashkenazi Jews is basically that they kept the story the same, and that the only evidence of DNA is proven that they're Ashkenazi Jews are based off of them saying they're Ashkenazi Jews for so long and them getting a state called Israel, or a state called Israel, and off of those individuals is where they drew their DNA from. And it was powerful data that after that, and after this 3-page letter of response that I hit the Faithful, and Brother Emitsomla, he came with some powerful information after that. After like 5 more comments from each of us, 3 from me and 2 from Brother Emitsomla, man, that thread just totally disappeared. So as you see, he's commenting, and you see me right here, Emitsomla, he got exposed as a heretical liar. Brother J is trying to cover up if he deleted the entire thread. Now I see that Brother J deleted the entire thread because he wanted to make that information his own. He wanted that to be his. And as you will notice, Brother J, his first revelation of this is basically 3 days after I posted this. So this had to have been like Wednesday, and today's Sunday, and he did a video yesterday on Saturday. So a couple of days, as you see, I'm going back. I was going back to edit my 3-page comment to make it more solid, to really bury that face doctrine. Then boom, the comments weren't there. And as you see me, I'm laughing it off, you know, because I was like, all right, I got him. You see the little wink right there. But I didn't know that Brother J had some wickedness up his sleeve, and it's very funny. And then this is Emitsomla. G-Check, I really hope this Negro didn't do that. Very disappointed. We exposed favor to God on all fronts. On that, the Ashkenazi Jews and the works of the law. And he was just looking bad. Okay? And then as you see, this was the worst I've ever seen him behave. Flat out lying continually, getting his heretical lies exposed by truths. Brother J, you are supporting satanic lies. And this is me. Emitsomla, hold on. And yeah, I like my own comment, yeah, because I mean, it was some good stuff. Anyways, Emitsomla, no doubt it's sad because Faithful made a video a couple of weeks back saying he responds to all claims. He's not like the camps. Yet, when he gets called out on his lies, he ran out of fake sources. He jumped ship. I heard he had his track shoes. I'm disappointed as well because I thought they were about edification and when they get found in a lie, they accept they would accept the facts and publicly acknowledge their faults. But I see that's not the case. If they think they've been exposed now, the exposures have just begun. Buckle up, Jay, and enjoy the ride. So I let him know right then. So this would have been a perfect time for him to say that his whole doctrine changed, but he couldn't say his doctrine changed because he said the camps changed their doctrine. He came across what G Checker came across them, and like Sonetta says, adjustment bureau. You come here and get adjusted. I adjusted their whole ideology with one thread, and emitsomla did too. Good job, brother emitsomla. Let's see what he says after this. G Checker, exactly. I thought this was all about revealing truths. Iron sharpens iron. Hopefully it wasn't Brother J who deleted the comments. Okay, so now let me go find the threads where basically Faithful to God was basically responding, and then the threads just magically disappeared when he felt like he couldn't wiggle his way out of his heresies. All right, here's the comment threads right here. G, as you see, G Checker, I really hope this Negro didn't do that. As you see, I really hope this Negro didn't do that. You see the little thumbnail back there of the video. Now let's see if we can find Faithful. Okay, this is emitsomla giving them that business. Faithful to God, another fundamental problem lies in data reduction inherent in the GPS approach genotypes at about 100,000 sites dating around 2016 are not analyzed directly but collapse. And see, look, this brother was dropping his science. Faithful to God, real disappointing. You're going to just ignore the factual data points the origins of the AJs to ancient trade routes, which have the name Ashkenazi in the Caucasus Mountains. Okay, as you see, right here, G Checker. By the way, since you tossed out a red herring attempt in a switch topics, I think it's fair to remind you that you still haven't addressed the questions I asked in the live chat. And he was basically saying that the question that he wanted to ask me was who were the proselytes, and I asked him in his thread, hey, tell me which proselytes are you talking about? I didn't say tell me, but I was like, give me the scriptures you're talking about, brother, so we can address it. He didn't. Then you see G Checker, not to mention you ignore those other verses I showed you, which, you know, there was a few, and I was going back to address these, but the thread just magically disappeared. Because I think a 3-page response was plenty, but he wanted more. And as you see, at that point he was done with scriptures. He was done with scriptures. He was completely done. He knew the jig was up. So now he started doing red herrings. And then as you see, not to mention, okay, you and I have spoken in a private hangout before where you claim to be a descendant Jew. And I told him, hey, you know, I said I was a descendant of Jew because you said Israelites, all Israelites were Jews, and I specifically said that the Jews were those that held the Torah, but you're like, no, in the New Testament, all people, all Israelites are Jews. So you didn't say that part. So, you know, the deceit never stops. But, you know, you see all these good comments that Faithful brought up. Let's just go to the one where he said, I claimed that I was a Jew. In short, you're a trapped in blackwash version of a heresy. And after this, oh, that's what made, this right here is what made me come up with the 3-page response. And let's just see if we could go to this, because we know in this video right here. All right, well, let's just go here.
That he acknowledges as Jews,
as you see, it's the
and not
same
as
response
fake Jews,
to Pastor
very
Omar.
much like the
And this is
citizens of
Tony.
Israel
I
today.
exposed him with another
And
video
here
I
are
just
some
dropped
pictures
yesterday. But hold
of
on.
the.
Now let's see if you can see these threads that Faithful that he commented on. Oh, that's Faithful right there. Let's see if this is the same thread. Nope, that's not the thread. Oh, what about these 43 comments? Let's see if this is the thread. You got emitsomla right there, but Nah, there's emitsomla again. He's still giving them that business. Nah, so it wasn't. It's not in here. And as you see, oh, there's some more comments. Hold on. There's the end of emitsomla. All right, let's see right here. Now that's me responding 30 minutes ago. Brother J, you're a very dishonest guy. First you delete our thread where we were giving Faithful to God the business about works. And when I told Faithful to God to be careful, he doesn't know what works are. You deleted the thread and now you come out with a video like you came to that understanding yourself. You're a wicked dude. You're so wicked, dude. You can't hide that dishonesty. LOL, you guys are weak and deceitful. Use my whole breakdown that was given to me. Then you don't say thank you, G Checker. So now I'm just rubbing it in because I told him, get ready for the ride. The exposure is just begun. And as you see, we've been through all the comments. I'm looking for the one from Faithful. I don't see it. Let's go to another. Let's go to some more of the comment notifications. Hold on. All right, let's see if we can go to this last comment that Faithful made before the post disappeared. You check about a way since you tossed out a red herring in an attempt to switch topics. I think it's fair to remind you that you still haven't addressed the question I asked you in the live chat. Guess what? It takes us back to this pastor. This pastor's response, Brother J's response to Pastor Omar, takes us back to the same thing. So as you see, they delete comments. And now here comes Brother J with a video on Facebook like he came to this understanding on his own. And you know, I don't take credit for the understanding, but I will take credit for bringing it to him and him basically plagiarizing a response that was given to him. Now let's go to the 3-page letter. The 3-page letter is basically, Faithful to God, am I professing to be a Jew? I don't remember in this thread claiming to be a Jew. Then you see Faithful bring out, oh, in a private hangout, you said you were a Jew. So that's not nice of you to make that assertion. I believe a Jew is someone that is keeping all the laws of Moses, which I don't claim to keep. And as you see, when Brother J starts out his premise, he said, y'all can't say that y'all keep all the laws of Moses. He's right now is very weird to me. And but this is Faithful to God's first response, what the works of the law is. Okay, this is his first response. And but it's interesting that you brought out Ephesians 2 and 10. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus unto good works. And I pointed out good works because he didn't have an idea what he was talking about. He was talking about the works of the law, which God have before ordained that we should walk in them. So, and something told me not to put good works in here, but this is what I did, and this is what brought Brother J to this whole idea, and this is why I was gonna try to revamp it, because I knew something like this was gonna happen, but I didn't think he was gonna make a video about it and not put it on YouTube. So the good works that you relate to Galatians 5:22 and 23, mainly 22, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Such there is no law. So I put right there is no law, which is a safe answer, but I don't think that is quite a safe answer, but I don't think that's quite the answer, because right now I'm sparring with him. I'm sparring, you know, I got him up against the ropes and I'm ready to hit him with the ropey dope, you know, as soon as he comes with the as soon as he runs out of options. So and then now let's go to the next one. Now we know that from your 1 John 3:22 through 24 response. Let's see here. And this is the commandment, that we should believe on the name of the Son, Jesus Christ, and love one another as he gave us a commandment. And he that keepeth his commandment dwelleth in him, and he in him. And hereby we know that we abideth in him by the Spirit which he hath given us. And then so now my response was, we know now that you're admitting that good works are the commandments. So another safe answer, but I think but there's but hold on. That's why I wanted to refresh it. But that's not it basically. But not as clear. But I mean, but that's there, but not as clear for some people. Okay. So then now I'm going on. I don't know what you're trying to pull with Romans 3:27. War is boasting in. It is excluded. By what law of works? Nay, but by works, but by the law of faith. Therefore, we conclude that a man is justified by faith without the deeds of the law. Okay, so now that just lets you know that he didn't have a clue. He was just pulling straws. You know what I mean? Because that has nothing to do with works of the law. Okay, so but you know, in his mind, he did something. So let's see here. So this is my response. First, you quote 1 John 20 through to 24, which talks about commandments. Then you bring out Romans 3:27 through 28, which totally destroys the deeds of the law, which I know what has been in context. But do you care to explain the difference? And without simply saying the law of Moses, because we know that Galatians 5 goes hand in hand with some of the laws of Moses, especially when it talks about not walking in the flesh. Okay, and that's Galatians 5:17 through 19, I want to say. Okay, so that goes hand in hand with the laws of Moses. So, and then, so this is another verse that he brought out. Your Titus 3:3 through 4, which actually should have gone a little further. Let's see here, but I started at 3. But after that, the kindness and love of God, our Savior toward man appeared, not by works of righteousness which we have done, but according to his mercy. He saved us by washing of regeneration and renewing of the Holy Spirit, Holy Ghost, which he shed on us abundantly through Jesus Christ our Savior, that being justified by his grace, we should be made heirs according to the hope of eternal life. Okay, so I'm just letting him know he should have went down further. And then I told him basically that Titus 3:3 is reiterating what we were told in Ezekiel 36:22, basically saying that we're not being saved by grace of our own, because we can't achieve grace. It's something that's a gift from God. But let's read on. Ezekiel 36:22. Therefore say unto the house of Israel, thus saith the Lord God, I do not this for your sake, O house of Israel, but for mine holy name's sake, which ye have profaned among the heathen, whither you went. And I will sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen, which you have profaned in the midst thereof, in the midst of them. And the heathen shall know that I am the Lord, saith the Lord God, when I shall be sanctified in you before their eyes. For I will take you from among the heathen, and gather you out of all countries, and will bring you into your own land. Then I will sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean from all your filthiness, and from all your idols will I cleanse you. A new heart will I also give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. And this is basically going back to the dream that Peter had when it said, don't call common or unclean that which I have cleansed. As you see right here, that's basically being taken from Ezekiel. God is reminding Israel that he's going to cleanse us. Okay, you see it right here. So that's the Acts 10 and what Peter was dreaming about. Okay, so that's done. Okay, it's just abundantly clear. And a new heart will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you, and I would take away the stony heart. Oh yeah, and this is basically saying that Cornelius, he was of the house of Israel because he was cleansed with the water. Okay, and it wasn't because of his righteousness; it was because God was doing it for his name's sake, and because he's a faithful God. Okay, and a new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit I will put into you, and I would take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart. I will give you a heart of flesh, and I will put my spirit within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes, and you shall keep my judgments and do them. And you shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers, and you shall be my people, and I will be your God. So this is my response to his I'm still responding to faithful. So I'm not quite sure why you brought up works there, but I guess it's all about overloading with scriptures to divert. We do God's will, which Galatians 5:19 through 21 tells us to avoid. And the things that God is telling us to avoid are basically adultery, uncleanness, fornication, covetousness, lasciviousness, just all the things. And as you'll see right here, and doing those things shows us to be faithful, since God is granting us with the gift of mercy. So, I'm letting them know about the gift of mercy. And Psalms 86 tells us how to deal with that mercy. Psalms 86:11. Teach me thy way, O Lord. I will walk in thy truth. Unite my heart to fear thy name. I will praise thee, O Lord my God, with all my heart, and I will glorify thy name forevermore. For great is thy mercy toward me, and thou hast delivered my soul from the lowest hell. Okay, so the mercy that God is giving us, which is the gift, Psalms tell us how to basically treat that mercy, and that mercy is to pray to the Lord that he changes us and come and put the laws within our heart. And a part of that is we have to glorify the Father. That's something those fake shield squad members, those fake Christian shield squad members, they fail to do. They don't glorify the Father, okay? And they don't recognize that mercy as a gift from the Father through the Son, Jesus Christ, okay? They don't get that. Okay, now I'm back on the Galatians 5. Okay, in Galatians 5:19 talks about uncleanness is the same, and this is what he said. I threw in a red herring. This right here, it really upset Faithful. You know what I mean? He said I changed the subject, and I really didn't change the subject because he brought up Galatians 5, and Galatians 5:19 talks about uncleanness, and that uncleanness is the same word used in Leviticus 11:4, which you always unusually want to say means something else. But when you look in the Septuagint, and I've shouted them out because I'm being honest, which Brother J is not being honest now, and I got that from Faithful. You know what I mean? Because the Greek uncleanness in the New Testament is written in Greek. The Old Testament is written in Greek in the Septuagint. So when you look back at the Old Testament, Leviticus 14, where it say these foods are unclean to you, it's the same word that is found in Galatians 5:19 talking about uncleanness. So they try to say, oh, it's morally uncleanness, but how can you say it's morally uncleanness when this same word right here in Leviticus 11:4 is using the same word unclean, and it's talking about food? So I'm taking it as everything unclean. So there you have it. In the New Testament, it talks about unclean food, and as you will see, let's see here, which you always usually want to say means something else. But when you look in the Septuagint, and I got that from you, Faithful, it's the exact same word. So in Galatians, when it speaks of unclean, which is the same word people use the same word Peter used when he thought the vision was about food. But to be clear, the message wasn't about food. It was about a group of men the Lord cleansed, okay? And as you see right here in Ezekiel 36, then I will sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean from all your filthiness and from all your idols. Will I cleanse you? And you see right here, it's talking about who? O house of Israel. So come on, man. Let's just keep this all the way real. You guys are wicked. You're phony and fake, and now you're being blasted. Okay, so let's see here. So stop saying it's a Romans 14 thing, because that is about to get crushed right now, since Romans 14 is about fasting and not a dietary order for everyday living. So Faithful, he always says, oh yes, a Romans 14 thing. When somebody talk about a pork diet, he always says, oh, you can't use Romans 14. I mean, you can't say it's unclean because it's Romans 14. To some they can eat all things, and some they can eat herb. You're about to see right here what Romans 14 is talking about. As seen in Mark 2 and 18, and the disciples of John and of the Pharisees used to fast. And they came and say unto him, why do the disciples of John and of the Pharisees fast, but thou fast not? And Jesus said unto them, can the children of the bride chamber fast while the groom is with them? As long as they have the bridegroom with them, they cannot fast. But the day shall come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them, and then they shall fast in those days. Okay, so and there's different reasons for fasting. You guys can research that yourself. I think there's 3 different reasons for fasting. One is feast, one is death, and I forget what the other one is. But it's just being read clearly right here. Okay, so now I'm taking you to Romans 14, and your favorite Romans 14 throw off. Let's start at verse 1. Him that is weak in the faith receive ye, but not to the doubtful disputation. For one believeth that he may eat all things, another who is weak eateth herbs. Okay, so now let's go down, let's keep going and see what that says. You say, see, one man thinks he can eat all things, and the other one that is weak only eats herb, which is a bad argument, by the way, because not eating pork is not saying, hey, all we eat are herbs. I can't believe that you thought that was a smart argument, and I'm talking to Faithful. But here is what John was referencing in Mark 2 from the Old Testament, Daniel's 1 and 11. Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs has set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah, prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days let them give us post to eat. Post is vegetables, okay? The same herbs that are being talked about in Romans 14, and water to drink. So don't let no man judge you in food and in drink, okay? That's talking about fasting and feast days, okay? Because during feast days, they eat meat and they drink wine, okay? But when they fast, they eat herbs and drink water, okay? Then let our continences be looked upon before thee. So he said, after 10 days, look at us and see how we look. We're going to look more healthy. Deal with thy servants. So he could send it to them in this manner and prove them 10 days. And at the end of 10 days, their countenance appeared fairer. So they look more beautiful and more fatter in flesh than all the children who did eat the king's portions of meat. Thus Melzar took away the portions of their meat and the wine that they should drink, and gave them post, which is herbs, okay? And they drank water. It didn't say it, but he took away the wine, so that means they drink water, okay? And you know, I had to throw the dietary in there since you brought up Galatians, and I could go on and on, so that's letting them know I could go through all his arguments, but as you can see, but deny, you have some terrible, terrible arguments that I hope you get right and come out of that heresy and glorify the Father, who is the God of our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that gave of the gift of grace and mercy through his son, Jesus Christ. All right, after this, the whole comment thread went down. Now let's go to Facebook and see what Brother J is talking about.
You know, I had put a post on in the group. Yo, Kwam Kushizala Kangak Shalom Shavuot. That's the brother faithful to God, or
guess who you see in here commenting, faithful to God, and he knows that he knows where this whole argument came from, but you see him in the comment section being stupid. You know what I mean? Just acting foolishly, okay?
Or, you know, Kanali Yashowama. All right, cool. Yeah, I put a post in the in the group, and it was Ecclesiastes 7:20, and it says, "For there is not a just man upon the earth that doeth good and sinneth not." So just to give a more clarified version, I post the NLT version. I know a lot of specifically Black Hebrew Israelites, and even some Christians are KJV only is, but it's good to reference other translations as well, and the underlying text and different things like that to get a full understanding of what Scripture's saying. And so I post the NLT version of Ecclesiastes 7:20. I'm gonna put my phone right here so y'all can see, so I ain't looking to the side to y'all. All right. And it says, not a single person on earth is always good and never sins. Okay. And so I pose this question now: who keeps the law of Moses, since it requires perfect obedience, according to Deuteronomy 27:26? And for those that don't know what that's talking about, that's the curse of the law. Cursed be he that continueth not in all things written in the book of this law to do them. And so it says, and so I put at the end, I said, you won't be justified by the law, for by the law is the knowledge of sin. That's Romans 3:20. All right. Therefore, your justification is only coming through Christ. Okay, I see he's responding to me. Coming through Christ, and by his Spirit will you live and do those things that are pleasing to God. So stop telling people all you got to do is keep the law, fringes, feast days, what you eat, what you wear, to be saved. Y'all getting on my last nerves with that devil doctrine. It don't lead them at all.
Now, hold up. Did he just call it the devil doctrine, saying that you don't have to keep these little simple things that you can keep? And we just saw that the same uncleanness in Galatians 5:19 is the same uncleanness in the Septuagint of Leviticus 11:4. But he's going to say that's a devil doctrine. Of course it's a devil doctrine, because you choose to eat pork and not have a clean dietary law, like thus saith the Lord. Okay, that's why it's a devil doctrine. And basically, in the end times, they're going to say good is bad and bad is good. And he's saying that to keep the dietary law is bad. So he's fulfilling prophecy right now and doesn't even know it.
All right, and so you have many sides to this. Mary, a lot of variants. You have those who say you be saved by through grace, through faith, and through faith alone. And because of your faith, it produces good works because you have the Spirit of God indwelling you. Then you have the other side. Then you have another side that say, oh, it's you got to keep the law and the faith of Christ. All right, because they see like Revelations 14:12, here they keep the commandments of God and faith of Christ. And so they automatically equate that commandments that's written there with the law of Moses. So they think it's the feast days and not eating pork. And, that's where you get those groups that say the only thing we don't do is animal sacrifice. That's that group. And then you have another side who says it's faith plus works that you be saved. Meaning, faith in Christ that he died on the cross, but your salvation is also dependent upon your own ability to keep the law to the best of your ability and all this kind of stuff, right? So you have like people that say, I don't keep the law. When they say the law, they're talking about the law of Moses. They're not talking about the commandments Christ taught. They're talking about the law of Moses, meaning like not eating pork, wearing fringes and stuff. They'll say, I don't do these things because I have.
Now, as you see, that pork thing is dear to him because he keeps bringing it up. This is like the third time he brought it up. And if you feel convicted by not eating pork, then Brother J, you shouldn't eat pork. But man, you've been through it. I've been through it with Faithful in a private hangout, as you see. And they can never, every time you get off the phone, it's like, oh yeah, well, okay, all right, brother. They always backing up. And I'm quick to tell them, hey, I only been in this thing for like, at that point, a year and 3/4. Now it's going on 2 years. But I'm still fresh in this. You know what I'm saying? And really, I haven't started breaking down the Bible on my own for even a year now. And I feel like I'm so much more advanced than them. And it's true because now he's using an argument that I caught Faithful stumbling with.
Have to do it because I want to, right? Or because, I love God or something like that. And so they'll say, me doing these things won't justify me But if I don't do these things, then that shows I don't have faith and all that other stuff. So that don't even make sense. To hold to a doctrine like that actually takes away from what Romans 9 says when it talks about, when it gives you the comparison of the elect versus the non-elect of God, and they use what the law said concerning Jacob and Esau. All right, how before the children were born, before they did any good or evil, that the purpose of God according to election might stand. All right, and so that's actually taken away from God's own sovereign, election, or whatever the case is, or taking the glory from, or taking the power, if you want to say, which you're really not, but in terms of who you're getting reference to, you're putting reference on yourself and your ability to do something or to do good. But the problem is that the scripture says that there's none righteous, there's none that seeketh God, there's none that doeth good. Then we see in Ecclesiastes 7:20 that there's not a single person on earth that always do good and never sins. So if it's based off your ability, all right, to keep the law to the best of your ability to be saved.
All right, I'm about to pause and go to the media matters because I'm already at 41 minutes and I don't want to make this too long and unbearable. All right, here we go. Now keep in mind, he ran to Romans 3, and then now he's going. That's a quote that Faithful that's a verse that Faithful quoted, which we seen was in error, and then he's going to 1 John 3. You know what I mean? Which was dealt with. Well, let's see.
I could throw you up in here, but I know you say he's new to Facebook, or at least Facebook Live. I think I've seen him on Facebook for a while, but all right. So, for example, here in 1 John 3, right? John is giving us an example of actual good works. So we don't have to guess what good works are. They're things that come by way of the fruits of the Spirit. I mean, he shows us an example of this, right? All right. Let me start at verse 13. All right. So it says, "Marvel not, my brethren, if the world hates you. We know that we have passed from death unto life because we love the brethren. He that loveth not his brother abideth in death. Whosoever hate," let me make sure this King James Version for y'all. All right, cool, yeah. "Whosoever hateth his brother is a murderer, and ye know that no murderer have eternal life abiding in him." So those that have faith, or true faith in Christ, have eternal life presently in them. All right. Because why? Because God's Spirit is within them. All right. And Christ is that life. Remember, Christ said, "I'm the way, the truth, and the life." So any man that has the Spirit of Christ in them have life already abiding in them. All right. "Hereby perceive we the love of God, because he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for the brethren. But whoso have this world's good," now he's giving an example. Bro, I mentioned along with 2 years, like, dude. All right, hold on right quick.
That's what
Oh, man. Yeah, man.
So I'll just let you know how wicked they are. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, they don't have a clue.
Hey, I gotta tell you something funny too, man. Brother Chris came called me and told me today, man. That jump was mad funny, man. But anyway,
all right, let me go back to the meat of the matters, because right now let's finish this because it sounds like he's about to get serious.
So he gives an example of good works. All right, so remember, James said, "Faith without works is dead." Right. All right, so here goes an example of good works done by someone who has faith in Christ, versus the evil works or the dead works or a dead faith for a person who doesn't do this very example. All right, so here's the example. 1 John 3 and verse 17. "But whosoever have this world's good," all right, meaning, the Lord has blessed you abundantly, whether it be money or lands and stuff like that, where you have this world's goods, all right, "and seeth his brother have need, all right, and shutteth up his bowels of compassion from him." All right, this compassion or mercy or love, he shuts it off. All right, so he becomes greedy. The Lord has blessed him with this world's goods, and he sees his brother in need. So let's just use a real life example. Let's say, the Lord has blessed me with abundance, and I have a kitchen full of food. All right, I have a kitchen full of food, or I have a lot of money. All right, and I see my brother in need. Let's say he has a family of 5, right? And he's struggling. Maybe something happened with his job or something like that, right? Something happened with his job, or else he's just lacking food, and I have plenty enough food to actually give to them, right? But instead, I shut up the bowels of my compassion or mercy from this brother. So instead of going, hey, bro, hold on, man, let me give y'all something, man. I go, hey, well, like James said, hey, be ye warm and filled, and send him off among his way, but don't give him the thing need for his body so his family can survive, right? So I shut off my compassion from him. How dwelleth the love of God in him? My little children, let us not love in word, meaning, hey, I love you, neither in tongue.
Now he's coming out with the actual understanding, which before they say, oh, you love your brother, this, that, and the third, but they never explain what love is. But now, after me sparring with faithful Brother J, he caught on, okay? So now, Brother J, he has a clearer understanding, but, and I'm glad that he does. But knowing Brother J and faithful, they're gonna use this new understanding for wickedness now. But let's continue.
The things we say, oh man, I just love you so much, brother, and I just, I will, if you need any help, man, just let me know. Not just in word or in tongue, but it says, but in deed and in truth. All right. So in deed, those are the works. All right. Oh, I love.
Okay. So now he's getting into what works are. Okay. So I don't have a problem with this, but this is my first time hearing him break it down. And it's strange to me that a couple days later, after he deletes the thread, now he's coming with it. Now, and I'm only doing this because he's being deceitful, okay?
Love you, brother. Oh, my brother's in need. Let me help him. All right, the Lord has blessed me with abundance. Let me give to him, or whatever the case is. And in truth, like what Christ taught us when he said, lend to every man that ask of you and not look for it back, right? So you're not giving to them in a kind of an underlying motive type of way, whereas you're like, well, you know what? I'm going to give to him so that the next time I need something, I'm going to go to him and he better help me because I helped him this time. It's not in that type of situation. It's literally, my brother's in need. I'm just going to help him. I'm not looking for anything back. That's why a lot of times you see different people go like, brother might need some extra money or whatever for a bill or something. And they give it to him and the brother will go, hey man, I'll give it back to you. But the person will be like, hey man, don't worry about it, bro. So you have people that do things like that. They just give from the kindness of their heart. So that's an example of good works. Notice there's no wear fringes. There's no, hey, don't eat pork. There's no, hey.
You see, he's still coming with the pork. And we know that Christ wore fringes, so why is he still saying no fringes? This brother is showing his wickedness. And this is the wickedness that he's trying to show. He's been revealed to what good works are, but now he feels like because he's doing these good works that he doesn't have to do righteousness. And righteousness, we know, is doing the will of God. Okay, so if God separated laws for Israel and Christ did those laws, then for you to say you don't have to do them, Brother J, you're being wicked. You're being wicked, brother.
Hey, wear 100% clothing. There's none of those things that were works of the law written in the Mosaic covenant that is mentioned here. Yet,
but one thing he doesn't know is following the commandments aren't doing the works of the law. Doing works of the law is doing the judgments and sacrificing. The works of the law is to produce blood, brother. You still don't get it. You still don't get it. He doesn't get it. And this is why I have to make this video to show him that you got some of the understanding and you're going to get more, but you deleted the thread and now you try to spin off your own understanding and you still don't get it. And I got a few slides already on PowerPoint getting into this specific subject. Okay, and I recently did it, and that's how I was able to spar with Faithful, because the revelation just came, and it wasn't on me. It was because I was seeking for the information. You just happen to come across it because I like dealing with you guys, and I'm trying to pull you out the heresy, but you're using it in a wicked way.
These are good works stemming from what? The fruits of the Spirit. Now let's look at the fruits of the Spirit again.
Now he's going to go to Galatians 5. And let's go back to Galatians 5 on the pad that I got written out. Galatians 5, these are the fruits that you get from walking in the Spirit, okay? This is what you get from walking in the Spirit. You get the fruits. And as you see, once again, the fruits of the Spirit, there is no law to do them. That just comes from you being converted. By you doing the good, by you walking in the commandments, basically doing the commandments and doing the works of the law are two different things. Commandments are basically doing that which God told you to do. So you won't have to deal with the judgments, okay? So if somebody breaks the law and you got to do a judgment, guess what? Now you that are keeping the law, you got to put in that work and you got to discipline that person. That's the works of the law. Or if you messed up, now you got to put in that work and sacrifice some animals. That's the works of the law. But Brother J don't get it. He still don't get it. You know what I'm saying? And that just shows you his wickedness.
All of this starts with faith. All right? And the life that we live is not us that liveth or doeth it. It is Christ that lives within us, like the Apostle Paul said. All right, so this is Galatians 5. Now look at what the fruits of the Spirit is. It says this. The fruits of the Spirit. Give me a quick second.
And as you see, and it's funny, he took my first point from good works. He took my first point from going into it, and now he made that a part of his presentation, which is a little dishonest.
All right, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, all right, which is the example we just read. All right, and once again, brother, what's his name? Fernando Harris. If you jump in here, just leave a message, man, so I can see, because the comment section moves. Okay, hold on, let me see. He said K how. Okay.
I'm gonna pause this because nobody wants to hear him doing all this clicking and clacking.
An example of that. All right, someone who has faith and they see that, and the Lord has blessed them with worldly possessions or goods or whatever the case is, see his brother in need, and he doesn't shut off his bowels of compassion from him, but yet helps his brother. All right, that's showing.
All right, Brother J, he still doesn't know what faith is, okay? And where faith comes from. He's still showing his wickedness because he's saying all you got to do is have faith. We're going to see that faith is a gift as well. So he's just so wicked he don't even know. All right, let's see. We're at 1 Corinthians 12, and let's see here. Now let's see. Let's start at verse 3. Wherefore I give you to understand that no man speaking by the Spirit of God calleth Jesus accursed, and that no man can say that Jesus is Lord but by the Holy Ghost. Now there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. Are there a difference of administrations but the same Lord? And there are diversities of operations, but in the same God which worketh all in all. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal. For one is given by the Spirit the word of wisdom. And these are gifts right here that are given. To another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit, to another faith. Okay, so this same faith that he's talking about is a gift by the same Spirit. To another, the gifts of healing by the same Spirit. Okay, to another, the working of miracles. To another, prophecy. To another, discerning of spirits. To another, divers kinds of tongues. To another, interpretation of tongues. But all these works that one and the self same Spirit divide into every man severally as he will. Okay, so you could get multiple gifts, or you might just get one gift. And we see that one gift that Brother J keeps on talking about is faith. So don't say you just got to have faith, because that faith that you have has to be a gift from God, brother. Okay, and that gift from God is showing you how to use those good works, which something you didn't have before. So thank God that you were able to get that understanding. Okay, and not that it's your own understanding, brother.
On the love of God within him, meaning the Spirit of God, this is the fruit of the Spirit. That's good works. Somebody who sees his brother in need, but say he got faith, but sees his brother in need, and the Lord has blessed him abundantly, and he
Okay, good work. Peace. Hold on. Love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance, which there is no such law. Okay, this is basically converting the Spirit, Jay. And the only reason why I said that the good works that you relate to Galatians mainly can be found in Galatians 5 and 22, because nowhere else in Galatians 5 are you going to find good works. But one thing he doesn't realize is these aren't good works. These are a result of you being obedient to God. Okay, so you get love, joy, peace, long suffering. So that means you're patient, gentle, you have goodness, faith, meekness, temperance, all of that stuff. And goodness, you can say goodness in doing good works, but these are the things you get from when you convert it. And let's see. All right, so basically, when you stay away from the works of the flesh, okay? When you stay away from the works of the flesh, Psalms 19 and 7 tells you about the fruits of the Spirit, okay? Which we see right here, Psalms 19 and 7. The law of the Lord is perfect. So that means doing the commandments, basically staying in them, doing them, okay? The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of the Lord are right. Rejoice in the heart, okay? That's happiness. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes, giving you wisdom. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. More to be desired are they than gold, yeah, much fine gold, sweeter also than honey and the honeycombs. Moreover, by them is thy servant warned, and in keeping of them there is great reward. Okay, so as you see, when you do these things, it basically converts your soul. Okay, and it turns that stony heart into a fleshly heart. And when it turns it into a fleshly heart, these are the things that happen. Hold on, let me see. Let's just go there. Okay, so when you avoid doing these things, when you avoid doing the works of the flesh, adultery, fornication, uncleanness, as you see this the same uncleanness that's found in Leviticus 11:4, talking about unclean foods, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulation, wrath, strife, sedition, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, which is partying, and such like of that which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do these things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. But if you stay away from all of these things that bear witness to the law of Moses, this is what happens. But the fruits of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. And these are the gifts that you will get. Okay, so these are the gifts that you would get from the Lord if you stay away from the works of the law or the works of the flesh. Okay, so if you stay away from the works of the flesh, then you inherit these gifts. And it tells you right here, against such there is no law, because you don't get these things under your own will, under your own power. You can't automatically get these things. These are gifts. Okay, so let's just keep that in mind when we listen to Brother J, not knowing what he's talking about.
He withholds it, or in case being like that rich man who had the barn and it was full up, and instead of giving to the widows and the orphans, he built another barn. So that's that type of person that did that. The love of God dwelleth not in that person. Their faith that they proclaiming they have is dead. All right. So yeah, the fruits.
Exactly, because you could say that you have faith, but if your faith isn't the faith that's the gift from God, then all faith is dead, Brother J. Let's clarify that. And as you see, the faith that you're talking about you have is not the faith that's giving glory to God. Okay, because as we see, Jesus, he glorified God. Okay, these words spake unto Jesus, and lifted up his eyes to heaven and said, Father, the hour is come, glorify thy Son, that thy Son also may glorify thee. And what is he talking about? As thou hast given him power over all flesh, that he should give eternal life to as many as thou hast given him. Okay, so even the people, as you see right here, Christ, he's letting you know that the people that God gave him are the ones that God gave the faith. He gave all of this gift, these gifts. Even the people that are being obedient is a gift to Christ. And this is eternal life, that they may know thee, the only true God, and Jesus Christ, whom thou hast sent. And what Christ say? I have glorified thee on the earth. I have finished the work which thou hast given me. O Father, now, O Father, glorify thy me with thy own self, with the glory which I had with thee before the world was. I have manifested thy name unto the men which thou have gavest me out of the world. So he's still letting you know that the Lord gave him certain people, and the people that he gave him, we are given the faith of God. Thine they were, and thou givest them me, and they have kept thy word. Okay, so basically, Christ has let you know, I have manifested thy name unto the men which thou gavest me out of the world. And Christ said, I have glorified thee on earth. So Christ glorified the Father every chance he got. And now, Brother J, you want to say you got this faith, as in your little wicked faith means something? If your faith didn't come from God, then your faith is dead. Okay?
The Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness.
And look how this brother look. He doesn't look like he got none of that. Look how he gritting and gnashing the teeth.
Temperance. All right? So once again, and for anybody that may not know what those words mean, let's just switch it to a more modern translation.
You see, he's gnashing of the teeth. This dude is transforming and showing the wickedness. because he doesn't have that gift.
But the fruits of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. All right, and against such there is no law against these things. All right, that's why those that be led by the Spirit, the scripture says that ye are not under the law. All right,
you're not under the law because you can't sin. Okay, get it right, Brother J.
And the Spirit is the one that mortifies the deeds of this flesh. All right, according to Romans 8. Let me see if he came in here. I don't see him yet, but I told him how to get in here, so I'll just keep going until you get here. Another example, I know people like to go to James 2, but let's look at it.
Okay, he wants to go to James 2, but let's go to James 1 and go ahead and cut him off at the feet. Now, when you read 1 James 25, let's see. But whoso looketh into the perfect law of liberty and continueth therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed. Okay? And let's go up. Let's go up. Let's see. Let's go up. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. What is righteousness of God? Doing God's will. Wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your souls. Okay? That engrafted word is doing all the work, doing all the commandments that the Lord set forth out. Okay, and it doesn't have anything to do with blood now, because Christ was the blood, and it doesn't have anything to do with judgment now, because Christ told a lady he does not judge her, so go out and be perfect. Okay, but be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. Okay, for if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass. For he beholdeth himself and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was. But whoso looketh into the perfect law of liberty and continue therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed. If any man among you seem to be religious and bridle not his tongue, but deceiveth his own heart, this man's religion is in vain. Pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world. Okay? So that means basically doing the good works and being unspotted. What's being unspotted? Not doing those things that the Lord commanded you not to do. Okay? That is the thing that we're talking about. When we talk about the commandments, the things that the Lord commanded us not to do. Not the thing, we're not telling you to do the things that the Lord say do as a result of you not doing what he said don't do, which now you got to put in work. We're not saying do any of that stuff, okay? So get it right, Brother J. Get it right.
All right, so James chapter 2
Boy, you better run it.
Says that I'm start at verse, let's see here. I'm going to just start at, actually, let me start at verse 1. My brethren, have not the faith of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Lord of glory, with respect of persons. For if there come unto your assembly a man with a gold ring, in goodly apparel, and there come in also a poor man in vile raiment, and ye have respect to him that weareth the gay clothing, and say unto him, sit thou here in a good place, and say to the poor, stand out there, or sit here under my footstool. Are ye not then partial in yourselves, and are become judges of evil thoughts? Hearken, my beloved brethren, have not God chosen the poor of this world rich in faith, and heirs of the kingdom which he hath promised to them that love him? But ye have despised the poor. Do not rich men oppress you, and draw you before the judgment seats? Do not they blaspheme the worthy name by which ye are called? If you fulfill the royal law according to the scripture, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself, ye do well. All right, so fulfilling the royal law according to scripture based off this example, just
Okay, now see, love your brother as yourself is basically teaching him that word. Okay, so showing him how to be unspotted as well, brother. We just saw that in James 1, and I want to say 27. You got to show your brother to be unspotted too. And how do you be unspotted? You follow the commandments that the Lord laid out, so you won't have a blemish.
just one example that he's given is not being partial, where you esteem the rich and despise the poor. The rich come into your congregation or your school or education, you want them to sit in the front. You know, they're special. The people that, you know, don't have no prestige, you're kind of like, let them sit in the back. They're just visitors or something like that. All right. You're not to be partial in your judgments, or you're not to what's the word I'm looking for? Gosh, man, respect of persons. Okay. Let's see, verse. Okay, so he said, if you love your neighbor as yourself, you fulfill the royal law according to the scripture. All right. Notice once again, there's nothing being mentioned, anything about the works of the law of Moses. All right. But this is talking about good works.
So he still doesn't get what the works of the law is. The works of the law is sacrifice and judgment. Okay. So, I mean, right now it's very clear Jay doesn't have a clue what he's talking about. And that's not a good thing, because now he's telling people that, hey, all you got to do is go out there and, you see a brother out there starving, buy him a burger, then you'll be okay. Or go out there, if you see somebody need their lights paid, pay their light bill. Okay? Those are good things to do. But one thing that he's not understanding is, as you give that God that burger, show him how to be godlike. Show him that, hey, these are the things you shouldn't do, as found in Galatians 5:17. Don't be a drunkard. Don't be a partier. Don't be envious. Don't do this stuff. Because when you give to somebody a burger and they're hungry, guess what? They're listening to you more at that point whenever you give them the good word. Okay? So he still doesn't get it. Jay doesn't get it. And it's fascinating. It's fascinating that he took a comment in the message board and tried to make a whole doctrine around it. That's funny to me, and he doesn't understand it.
All right, which stem from faith.
Now watch. Now, this video is about to be documented, and we're going to see how he changes up again. Now he's going to get adjusted again. He's going to get readjusted. He's going to keep on getting readjusted until he realizes that he's in that heresy doctrine. But he's not going to admit it, because he feels like he has the magic bullet. You know what I mean? He has that magic pill that Faithful gave him. So now he just feels like he's strong in the doctrine. And anybody that exalts themselves, they'll be humble. Anybody who's humble will be exalted. And it's just simple as that.
Verse 9, but if ye have respect to persons, ye commit sin. All right? And are convinced of the law as transgressors. All right? Because remember, the law is to reveal sin. That's his purpose. Verse 10.
Now he just said the law is to reveal sin. So he's thinking, oh, if I just stay away from the law, then my sin won't be revealed. When Christ said that he would judge in the law, and without the law. So hold on, let's see. I gotta search this. Hold on. Okay. So now when we come down to verse 12, when you look at this in context, this is what Jay's basically saying. For as many as have sinned without the law. Well, he's not saying this, but this is what I'm saying. So he doesn't have to acknowledge the law. He doesn't have to acknowledge the law. But when you read Romans 2 and 12, for as many as have sinned without the law, that's without the knowledge of the law or without recognizing the law, shall perish without the knowledge of the law or without recognizing the law. And as many as have sinned in the law, which you have knowledge of the law and you know the law, you shall be judged by the way. You shall be judged by the law. So either way, you're going to be judged, okay? So when it says you're going to perish, that means you're going to be no more. You know what I mean? So Brother J, by you saying, basically making it to where you don't have to acknowledge the law, you're basically going to make yourself perish, brother. You're going to make yourself perish.
For whosoever shall keep the whole law and yet offend in one point, he is guilty of all. Why? Because the law requires perfect obedience. All right, so that's why we say to the brothers and sisters who claim they keep the law of Moses in any fashion as being liars. Because if you offend in one point, you offend in all. The law of Moses, just using the Sabbath as an example, there are laws associated with the Sabbath you cannot break apart from it. All right, I know they like to say the only thing we don't do is animal sacrifice, but you cannot break away animal sacrifice from the seventh-day Sabbath according to Moses, because the seventh-day Sabbath required the animal blood.
Okay, now this is the wicked talk, because we know Christ came to take away the blood. Okay, so in the way you're talking about, you're supposed to sacrifice, and Christ said, "I'm your rest." That lets you know that He took away the blood that's supposed to be that you're referencing. Okay, so you don't have to do the blood anymore, Jay. So it's just showing that that wickedness that you have, because you haven't received the gift of understanding. You haven't received the gift of knowledge, the gift of faith, the gift of prophecy, the gift of healing. Right now, you haven't received any gift because you are exalting yourself and you don't have any understanding.
All right. When it was instituted, when it was brought into covenant with Israel, it was sprinkled with the blood of animals and bulls and goats. You cannot, in terms of the law, all right, the two tablets of stone, the people, the Ark of the Covenant, the mercy seat, all those things is one covenant. So you can't take away an aspect from that covenant and still think you have that covenant.
But it was taken away with the blood of Christ. So this dude, I don't get it. I don't get how he's saying that you got to have this blood when Christ already shed blood for all of that, okay? For all the blood sacrifices. But He's coming back to judge, but he let us know that, hey, we are not to judge. Because when Peter asked him, should we forgive our brother 7 times? Jesus said no, 7 times 70, okay? So if you forgiving your brother 7 times 70, when do you have time to judge? So we already know that the law of judgment, we're not there to judge anymore. And Christ is the living sacrifice, so He atones for all sacrifices that we're supposed to do, because He was the perfect lamb without blemish, okay? All right? But Jay, he doesn't get it. I'm going to see if I can find another segment. Let me pause it.
For whosoever shall keep the whole law and yet offend in one point, he is guilty of all. For he that said, do not commit adultery, said also, do not kill.
I'm gonna tell you, I don't see temperance, gentleness, and joyfulness in this brother right now.
All right. So, for example, in the law of Moses concerning like feast days and stuff, he that said keep the Passover, first day, the 14th day of even of the first month, is the same one who also said send up this sacrifice morning and evening. The same one that said make ye fringes on the border of your garments is the same one that said be here in Jerusalem and eat before the Lord 3 times a year, these 3 feast days, main feast days. So you can't break away parts, all right? The same one who gave Moses the law and said, hey, throughout thy dwellings or generations or forever, like a lot of Hebrew Israelites like to try to throw up.
Okay, he's talking about the feasts in Jerusalem. Brother J, if you're scattered, if you're being scattered, you're only going to go back when the Lord brings you back, okay? So, this dude is so wicked, and you can see it in his face and his actions. You can see the wickedness.
It's the same one who said, if someone gets caught in adultery, this is the judgment. He's the same one that said, hey, if you steal your neighbor's ox, this is the judgment.
Okay, but Christ showed us when he came that now you're supposed to forgive your brother. You're supposed to forgive your brother 7 times 70. Okay? So what is Jay talking about? So if your brother kept the law, and see, he said, well, if you don't do this, then you got to do this. If you don't do this, then you got to do this judgment. But you ain't supposed to be teaching about you breaking the law, because right now you're talking about the works of the flesh. You're supposed to be talking about keeping the commandments, okay? Because when you break the commandments, then you got to do the law. You're telling, oh, well, if you do this, then you got to do this law. Oh, man, if you break this, if your brother steals, then you got to do this judgment. Brother, you're not supposed to be teaching that if you do this, then you got to do that, because that's not of the Spirit. If you teach people of the Spirit, then they're not going to, you can't sin. You're not even going to think like that. Because that love, that peace, that joy that's converted your soul, guess what? It's going to be infectious, and it's going to bear witness in the next person. If they have that gift to receive it. If they don't, then you keep it pushing, okay? But to say, hey, if you steal from your brother, then he got to do this, when Christ said no. First of all, you shouldn't be stealing from your brother. But if your brother steals from you, then what Christ said was, you got to reconcile with your brother, so leave that sacrifice at the altar, okay? And this was before he died. So reconcile with your brother before you sacrifice, because now you're sacrificing in vain. You just missed all the points and lessons that Christ came with, and it's a shame.
So you can't break away parts from the law of Moses and still think you keeping the law of Moses. All right? The law of Moses is the letter of the law, the written law, okay? All right. For he that said, do not commit adultery, said also, do not kill. Now, if thou commit no adultery, yet if thou kill, thou art become a transgressor of the law. So, for example, if thou don't eat pork, yet...
See, that pork is bothering that brother, because he wants to eat that pork. He loves that pig. And that's when you see the God, your belly is your God. You know what I mean? Because he can't stop thinking about that pork. Look at him. You see, he got that, he just feel good now. Look at that whole countenance change when he thought about pork. Oh, he felt good.
Thou don't wear fringes, you've broken the entire law, if you're under the law of Moses. If thou wore fringes and didn't eat pork, but didn't keep the Sabbath day, according to as it is written, then thou hast broken the entire law. That's how it works. All right? There is no, oh, well, I didn't commit adultery, but, and I didn't kill, but, and I kept the Sabbath day, only a couple of things. I only just didn't cook. I just only didn't work. But we didn't send up no oblations. We didn't go to the temple and do the things required in relation to the law of Moses. We don't have the Levite priests to continue the fire every day. And all these other things that went along with the Sabbath day in the law period, you can't say you keeping the law of Moses. Because if you offend in one point, all right, if you break one jot or tittle, then you become a transgressor of the entire thing. That's what you got to understand. Verse 12, so speak ye and so do, as they that shall be judged by the law of liberty. Not by the law of Moses, but the law of liberty. All right? For he shall have judgment without mercy. For he shall have judgment without mercy that have showeth no mercy. And mercy...
That's why it says, forgive your brother 7 times 70. That's what Christ said, okay? So Christ taught us that if somebody offends you, you don't have to offend them back, because that's not our job. The job is going to be Christ's when he comes back and casts judgment and hands the judgment, the rule of the judgment over to those that's been faithful to the end. So you got a long ways to go, Brother J.
Rejoiceth against judgment. Now, so we get to the part where we always see, brothers and sisters be throwing up trying to throw up in our faces. What doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he have faith and have not works? Can faith save him? All right, so I'm going to stop right there right now and just elaborate before I read on, because he's going to give us an actual example of good works, and it has nothing to do with the things that most black Hebrew Israelites keep trying to throw up in our faces, all right, as if he's talking about the works of the law. He's not talking about the works of the law, okay? So he says, what?
Of course he's not talking about the works of the law, Jay. Of course he's not, okay? Because the works of the law means that you unbroke the law, and that means you gotta do some things according to Moses. So if you break the law of Moses as far as killing somebody, then your blood got to be shedded. But when you look at Galatians 5 and 17, the law of Christ is still bearing witness to the laws of Moses. They just don't have the same judgments. We don't fulfill those same judgments, and we don't fulfill those same penalties, because we are supposed to be in the spirit, and we are patient saints, because we know that the judgment will come when God sends Jesus back. Okay, and it's very clear. But let's finish here, and you do James.
Does it profit, my brethren, though a man say he have faith and have not works? So they say, oh, you say you believe in Jesus, but you don't follow Christ, because Christ kept the law, right? So they'll be like, oh, Christ, didn't eat pork. Christ wore fringes. Christ had a beard. Christ kept the Sabbath day, which that is a topic in itself when we get into the Gospels, especially when Christ draws the comparison between what David did when he broke the Sabbath day, when he broke the law, eating that showbread, yet he was not guilty. All right, but that's a whole nother subject. But the point is that they'll say those type of things. So they'll say we Christians.
And see, one thing that he doesn't know is the good works. You got to do it to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world. How do you keep yourself unspotted from the world? By doing the things God commanded us to do to separate us from the world. Okay? Let me go here. Let me go here. So I've been doing a lot of research myself. See right here, you see, then Peter said to him, then came Peter to Jesus and said, Lord, how oft shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him till 7 times. And it's interesting where this came from. But anyways, Jesus said, I tell you, not just 7 times, but 70 times 7. But let's go here to James 1:25. Okay, now let's see what it's saying. Pure and undefiled religion before our God and Father is this: to care for orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. All right, let's see how we keep ourselves from being polluted by the world. And as you see, all of this stuff is being talked about in the prophets. If I have kept the poor from their desire, or have caused their eyes of the widow to fail, or have eaten my morsel alone, and the morsel and the orphan has not shared it. So basically, this is Job saying that he's basically done those same things. So if you did your thorough study in the Bible, the Old Testament, you would know that all of this stuff is basically the good works you're supposed to do. See, one thing that Brother J, he's saying, oh, you don't have to do the law of Moses. But let's see what Moses said in Deuteronomy 14:29. The Levite, because he has no portion or inheritance among you, and the alien, the orphan, and the widow who are in your town shall come and eat and shall be satisfied, in order that the Lord your God may bless you in all the work of your hand which you do. Okay, so even Moses is telling you to do good works. So I don't know what Brother J talking about. So he's just basically being wicked. And it's funny. It's funny and it's sad. It's sad. Because guess what? For it is not the hearers of the law who are righteous before God, but the doers of the law who will be declared righteous. Once again, Romans 2:13. Okay? This, Romans 14:29, is in the law. There's no denying it. That is in the law. Now let's see about being unpolluted. Unstained, without stained. There's 4 curses. Let's see all 4. All right. Keep himself unspotted. That's James 1:27, as we sing. Let's go here to Timothy, 1 Timothy 6:14. Okay, let's read. I give thee charge in the sight of God, who quickeneth all things, and before Jesus Christ, who before Pontius Pilate witnessed a good confession, that thou keep this commandment without spot, unrebukable, until the appearing of our Lord Jesus Christ. Okay, so this basically, this whole 1 Timothy 6, let's see here. Let as many servants as are under the yoke count their own masters worthy of all honor, that the name of God and his doctrine be not blasphemed. And they that have believing masters, let them not despise them because they are brethren, but rather do them service because they are faithful and beloved, partakers of the benefit. These things teach and exalt. And I don't think that's talking about slaves. I think it's talking about teachers. You know what I mean? Just like they call Jesus good master. You know what I mean? This isn't talking about earthly masters, okay? And if any man teach others otherwise, and consent not to wholesome words, even the words of our Lord Jesus Christ, and to the doctrine which is according to godliness. He is proud, knowing nothing, but dotting about questions and strifes of words, whereof cometh envy, strife, revelings, evil surmisings, perverse disputing of men of corrupt minds, and destitute of truth, supposing that gain is godliness. From such withdraw thyself. But godliness with the contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we carry nothing out. And having food and raiment, let us be therewith content. But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown in men destruction and perdition. Okay, so basically, it's telling you all of this stuff: envy, strife, railing, evil surmising, strifes of words, perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds. So, that's why I try not to call in their shows a lot, because I don't want to dispute with them. I'd rather just do a video and put that seed there. I don't got time to debate, but doing these things right here gives you spot. But if you stay away from this stuff, then you would be without stain. Okay? And this is just some of the stuff, because when you got envy, that leads to people getting robbed and killed. When you got strife, that leads to people getting robbed and killed. When you got railings, that leads to killing. Evil surmisings, calling people for wickedness, leads to the same thing. Perverse disputing of men disputings of men of corrupt minds. The Pharisees, what they do, they summoned Jesus, and they always came across him to dispute with him, and it led to them killing him. The destitute of the truth, supposing that gain is godliness. It's saying withdraw yourself from all that stuff. And these are some of the things that you do, that you stay away from, so you won't be spotted. So basically, James is saying the same thing. When you read James, to keep himself unspotted from the world, you go to 1 Timothy 6 and 14, Galatians 5 and 17, and there's so many other ones you could go to show you how to stay unspotted from the world. But Jay thinks, now that he understands that good works is basically doing good deeds to people, now he thinks he got it all figured out, which he doesn't.
Don't really have faith because we don't keep the law, because Christ kept all the law, and so therefore we got to keep all the law. The problem is that y'all can't keep all the law, neither do you keep all the law. So if anything, you're a hypocrite. All right? But he says, if a man, my brethren, say he have faith and have not works, they would say these works are talking about the works of the law, right? Feast days, Sabbath day, new moons, what you wear, what you eat. That's what they're equating as the works. So they think them having, or they prove their faith in Christ by doing the things that they see written in the law of Moses. But that's not what he's talking about. Let's see exactly what he's talking about. What doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he have faith and have not works? Can faith save him? All right? If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food. Remember, he's using a similar example like John did in 1 John 3. If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, depart in peace, be ye warm and filled, notwithstanding ye give them not those things which are needful to the body, what does it profit? Even so faith, if it have not works, is dead, being alone. All right? Now, so the Apostle James is showing us an example of someone who actually does have faith versus someone who doesn't have faith. All right? So someone who actually has faith is one who then has the Spirit of God indwelling them. And if the Spirit of God indwells them, then the Spirit of God, according to Romans 8, is going to mortify the deeds of his flesh, and they will bring forth fruits of the Spirit, which is love, joy, peace. Doing those things or those good works that is a result of their faith. That's what he's showing.
See, look, as you see over here, faithful, look at him. Bruh, I mentioned Galatians 3 and 13 along with Corinthians 12 and 3 to a Hebrew Israelite. And this dude hit me with that strong and wrong. Fam got his boo-hoo voice on and started trying to change the subject. This dude, you see how wicked he is? But he don't even get... Let's go to 1 Corinthians 12. The dude, faithful, is just so corrupt, man. Doesn't make sense. Okay. Wherefore I give you to understand that no man speaking by the Spirit of God calleth Jesus accursed, and that no man can say that Jesus is Lord but by the Holy Spirit. But what faithful fail to realize, his name is faithful, that to get this faith is a gift. Okay? By that Holy Ghost. So he's always quoting this. He's always quoting this, but he always fails to figure out that faith is a gift from God. Okay? So that same faith in James 2, if you don't have that gift from God, see, look, that's telling you right here that thou believest that there is one God, thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble. You know what I mean? So I mean, you could say you got faith, but the devil, he could also say you got faith. But if your faith isn't that gift from God, then you don't have the faith. You don't have the faith of that Spirit. So as you see right now, I'm already at an hour and 45 minutes plus, and I'm only 30 minutes in Jay's video, and I kind of skip some points. See, now look, you see it right here. Faithful. He got Ephesians 2, 8 and 10. As you see, I said, but it's interesting that you brought out Ephesians 2 and 10. Because faithful, he still didn't get it. You know what I mean? He's pointing out all of this stuff, and like I said, I got some slides on doing the good works, and I'm gonna bring it out. And when I bring it out, it's gonna just put some shame to Brother J that he just doesn't have a clue in what he's talking about. All right, reading Romans 3:27. Let's see here. Where is boasting then? It is excluded by what? Law of works? Nay, but by the law of faith. Therefore we conclude that a man is justified by faith without the deeds of the law. Okay? Let's go to verse 10 and see what they're talking about. As it is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. There is none that understandeth, there is none that seeketh after God. They are all gone out of the way. They are together become unprofitable. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. And I was about to tell you why they haven't done good. Their throat is an open sepulchre. With their tongues they have used deceit. The poison of asps is under their lips. So he's comparing their lying tongues, or them being deceitful. That's basically like Brother J doing right now, talking about good works, but really not coming up and saying where the whole notion came from. Maybe he has had that conversation a couple times, but he's still being deceitful because he keeps going back to Galatians 5, which I know that there was a major point in the comment section that I had with Faithful. It was so abundantly clear that I even tied in the uncleanness in Galatians 5 and 19 with Leviticus 4. And I think he's kind of heard about that. That's why he keeps on talking about the pork too. But he's still being deceitful, because when he talks about the works of the law, he's saying don't follow the law. I mean, that you don't have to follow the law of Moses, when Christ said he's coming to fulfill the law. And I think it was Paul said that we established the law. The law is established by basically doing the commandments and not breaking them. Because if you don't break the commandments, then you don't have to get into the judgments. Then you don't have to get into the sacrifices, because the blood for the Passover is Christ. Christ is the Passover lamb. Okay? So if we believe, so now Brother J trying to put us in a non-messianic category. He trying to say that, oh, now you need to follow the law of Moses and just disregard Jesus' law and how he fulfilled them and how he showed us how to fulfill them. You know, basically he's arguing the wrong argument, because he's trying to say that we're non-messianic. When we believe in the Messiah, we know that the Messiah was talked about in the Torah, and we know that the Messiah is going to show us how to walk that walk. Okay, so when they bring up Romans 3 and 27, you see it right here. Whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. You know, like they say, oh, I hope you break a leg. You know, they always saying, oh man, I gotta do this fasting. I gotta do this. Oh man, I don't want to do this. That's bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Like if somebody does something abominable, oh, we got to go out there. We got to lead the force and go kill them. You know what I mean? We got to shed that blood. Destruction and misery are in their ways, and the way of peace have they not known. There is no fear of God before their eyes. So when he said that the deeds of the law, because they're trying to kill, they're trying to sacrifice, well, they're trying to judge people based off of carnal judgments. So when you read Romans 3 and 27 and 28, it's not talking about keeping the law righteously, okay? Because we're about to see, hold on.
Why would he not dwell in the temple anymore? Well, according to the law of Moses, that's where his glory was, in the temple. And if your ability to keep the law of Moses is good works, then why would God remove himself from the temple made by men's hands?
All right, go back to your Romans 3. Once again. Now, hold on. Go to Luke. Okay. This is why. Luke 11. And this is why. But woe unto you, Pharisees, for ye tithe mint and root and all manner of herbs, and pass over judgment. So that means, hold on, we're about to find out. And the love of God. These ought ye to have done, and not to leave the others undone. Woe unto you, Pharisees, for ye love the upper seats in the synagogues, and greetings in the market, so they corrupted the temples. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are as graves which appear not, and that men that walk over them are not aware of them. So they're dead men walking, that's in the temple. And like when Christ went in there and they turned the temple into a market. He flipped over the tables because they corrupted the temple. You know, that's why when one of his disciples asked him, what about this temple? He said, one stone won't be left standing above another, because the temple was corrupted. That's why, Brother J, they didn't do that which was according to the law of Moses. They did those things that were acceptable to the Talmud, like washing your hands and washing, doing all of that stuff. Where's that in the book of Moses, where you got to wash your hands before you eat? I know the priests got to cleanse themselves a certain way, but the Talmud gets into all that stuff. You know what I mean? So you ask some vain questions, and And let me go to Titus. And Titus 3. And let's go to verse 9. But avoid foolish questions and genealogies and contentions and strivings about the law, for they are unprofitable and vain. Because you're going to say that you don't have to keep the law. Well, we know that Christ kept the law. You admitted that Christ kept the law, but you don't have to keep it now because you got grace. But in order to get that gift of grace, we saw in 1 Corinthians, you have to get it from God. Okay? So, to get all these administrations, you got to get all of this from God the Father. Okay? And we know that your shield squad isn't in one body because all of y'all have different interpretations.
Clunk, clunk, Shimon. Yeah, man.
Hakuna Matata, you know what I'm saying? I hear you, bro. You going in.
Yeah, man. Trying to show the difference between these good works that the apostles are talking about versus the works of the law, man. Because a lot of people are trying to say the works of the law are the good works.
Right. They gonna bring themselves in a place where they don't know what. You know, we interact and we deal with contracts and covenants all day long, and by now you would think that they would know what's going on. But see, what the problem is I noticed that a lot of times, let's say, for instance, we going to go buy a car or something like that. What we do is we go and we just so happy about the car, we never read the fine print. We don't read the fine print. We just, I'm going to give me a 2017, 2018. And no one's looking at the fine print. And so there's details and there's, types of penalties and then there's some things that might be beneficial, you know what I'm saying, that you can look at that contract. And so we just sign the line. We just sign it, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
this is a wicked Negro speaking, talking about man, I can't believe that. That's terrible hermeneutics. Yeah, let me just bypass that.
Why they went?
Right.
It was to reason to the Jews that Jesus was the Christ.
Right.
Yet when it was like stated that Christ didn't die on the cross, they were arguing that the word cross was a myth. Man, whatever, man. These dudes, man. Then the judgments now have to come into play. Where in that case, that was a sin unto death as well. So it's down to just a mere little human person that we can then equate ourselves on the same level with him. Of the Lord by the prophet, remember it said that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of the Lord or about the Lord. Why sealed the tribes first? Well, it doesn't say they were sealed first. It just said they would be sealed, and these are who will be sealed. But it didn't say, I'm going to seal them first and then go to the other nations.
All right, I see Sheik Atiba. She's in one of the groups that I'm in. Shalom, sister. But yeah, I'm about to wrap this video up because it went way longer than I thought. But yeah, I'll be doing the breakdown of the good works, and just to basically show this dude doesn't know what he's talking about. So hopefully y'all seen enough to know that this dude is a heretic, and he felt like he came with his own understanding based off of me having a sparring match with Faithful, because Faithful, he's not really a worthy opponent when it comes to the doctrine, because he's going to keep getting cut. And nobody is an opponent of sound doctrine, okay? I'm going to just say that. Either you with the sound doctrine or you aren't. So, and I guess he is an opponent because he's an enemy of sound doctrine, as well as Brotha J. So, I'm not doing these videos for them. I'm doing the videos for those that listen to know that there is heresy in their doctrines if you have questions. So, till next time.
someone blaze they punch. Now I'm guilty by association. Sounds of blackness eclipse in the sun. Target practice commence when I throw these darts at these rappers. Ricochet, hit the charts, bloody your mattress. Hold me down, woo blood kin,